joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I am Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister, and we thank you so much for being here. What did you miss?
I missed the music. I didn't hear the music.
Did nobody hear the music? I heard the music. Did everybody hear the music? I don't know what's wrong with Kim
I was looking down and I was like, where the heck's the music?
Hello. Did everybody hear the music? Let us know in the comments if you heard the music. I heard the music. I don't know if anybody else heard the music, but okay. Thanks for joining us on this gorgeous day in the Bay Area. This is why we pay so much money. I mean, I could take off my sweatshirt right now. It's so freaking gorgeous. Ricky says it was loud and clear. I don't know what's wrong with your headphones. Everybody else heard it. So please, thank you for joining us, and thank you all for being here. If you can, please click that thumbs up button because YouTube loves it and we love it as well. And as always, a big thank you to all of our supporters, both on Patreon, PayPal, and through the super stickers and super chats. If you want to donate during the show, as always, we will read them live on the show, and we accept super stickers and super chats even when the show is recorded. Some huge news that broke today regarding elections, and it's been your biggest fear, Kim McAllister, that we've talked about ad nauseum, which is, of course, Trump seeking executive powers over the elections, and now it looks like he is possibly thinking of doing it. Apparently, White House, people are circulating a 17-page draft executive order. And this all has to do, of course, with the election he lost to Joe Biden. Basically saying that China interfered. And so that, because they believe that Trump gets some sort of presidential power over voting. Now, of course, President Trump has claimed without evidence that there was something nefarious going on in the election, and that is why he lost. These powers in this draft would ban mail-in ballots and voting machines. It's absolutely ridiculous. Not only is this illegal, right? Like, the president has no control over elections. It is states and Congress. The fact that, between the SAVE Act with the voter ID that, again, still hasn't passed the Senate, and the fact that they're rushing towards this with the midterms right around the corner it's a crisis. And Congress is doing jack shit. Like nothing at all. They're just letting him get away with this. And I don't understand why. We know why. And it all has to do with what I was teasing. It's all a distraction from Epstein. It is all a distraction because more and more evidence is coming out that the DOJ has been covering up and continues to cover up Trump's involvement with that. And we will get more into it. But also the fact that Donald Trump and this Republican Party is unpopular. Everything that they have done, Donald Trump specifically, is unpopular with Americans. So they have to do something leading up to the midterms because they know they're going to lose. I don't know.
I don't know if this isn't just an Epstein distraction or not. I mean, it's interesting that it came out the day after the report indicated that there was 50 pages that mentioned Trump in this heinous sexual assault.
Exactly.
That was just stripped from the Epstein files. And now the Democrats are wanting an investigation into why that was taken out, what exactly was taken out, let's get it back in type of thing. But this whole let's commandeer the elections, let's commandeer control of it and take control from the states. This whole you can't vote by mail. We're going to take away voting machines. We're going to basically impose our rules on the elections. I think this is a fear of a midterm election blowout. And they're looking at sinking poll numbers, and they're looking at more and more Americans becoming disillusioned. Hopefully any wise Latinos in the country right now that are American citizens and that can vote, that voted for Trump last time, hopefully they've wisened up, right? Because the chances are good that their friends and their neighbors have been affected by this whole ICE thing. I would assume. I mean, I didn't vote for him last time, but I certainly, if I was someone seeing this happen in my community, I even had my son one day come home. He goes to a school that has a large Latino population, and he's got buddies in this class that are of all different races. And he was very concerned about how he could protect his friends if ICE came to school. And I'm like, listen, they're not going to let him in. You don't do anything, whatever.
Right.
I'm seeing it in my own family where my children are upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if it was your mother, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle in a different state who was taken in. So my point in mentioning that is perhaps they realize they've lost the Latino vote this time. Perhaps they realize that by wiping away Black History Month, maybe they're losing the Black vote too. I don't know. But when I look at the control of the elections, this is we've now picked up the pace, and it's a fast march toward this authoritarianism that we've all feared.
Well, absolutely. And when you look at the polling of turnout, what is this poll? This was the ABC Ipsos poll, the latest poll that came out. Mm-hmm. More Democrats than Republicans said they are certain to vote this fall. 79 to 65%. That 14-point advantage is the largest Democrats have reported on this question ahead of a midterm election since 2006. And so Republican voters, whether they are Black, Latino, they don't want to vote. What's his asshat name? Nick, who's the right wing, the right winger? Fuentes. He even came out. He's urging people.
I don't want to know that. I wish I
could. I know. Sorry. sorry. He came out. I just watched this stupid video of his last week. He's like, I'm not voting, and he's telling everyone, all of his far right people, do not vote. He's like, don't vote for any Republicans. He's urging everyone not to vote. So any of the asshats that follow him, he's telling them don't vote, and definitely don't vote for any Republicans. He doesn't want any of them to win. So they also are fighting that messaging, right? So you have the far right people saying, F Trump, F voting. You have that. Then you have disillusioned voters who are like, what the hell is going on? I don't even want to vote in this election.
Right.
So this is an uphill battle for Republicans, not to mention just the facts. Trump has failed to live up to the promises he made. Because remember the whole fine. Remember the whole fine thing that we talked about at the beginning of this whole shit show? Yeah. Remember my fine?
I remember your fine Welsh. Show me the price of eggs. Fine. Make things more affordable.
Nothing happens with the fine. Remember?
It has not happened.
There's no fine. Nothing's fine. Nothing has happened. And that is another problem. Remember, he was the peacetime president. We're about to freaking go to war, apparently.
Oh, but he's ended 8 wars, Nikki, and he did it with a phone call.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, 4 years on, and the Ukraine and Russia conflict is still underway.
Exactly.
We're the drumbeat marches to war with Iran and the United States. China is selling Iran missiles capable of hitting U.S. airships, whatever, airboats or ships, not airships, the aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. They might also be looking at this, which is the early voting numbers in Texas. And this might be scaring the bejesus out of them. Have you seen this?
No,
this is a story out of Texas. They say the primary election voting is surging, the early voting, Democrats turning out at record-breaking levels, driven largely by high-profile matchups between Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico. Yep. So they're seeing Democrats come out in record numbers in red Texas.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yeah. Now, of course, I don't think that they're going to get, I don't know, Texas. I don't think they're going to flip necessarily Texas. They might split it. That would be amazing.
What kind of message would that send?
That would, I still can't see it happening. Texas is a huge state with a lot of voters. Mm-hmm. The only way it would happen, this is the only way I foresee it happening, is if people stayed home. That's the only way I think it would happen. Not that Texas itself and its voters actually wanted a Democratic senator or a congressperson, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's that people just stayed home. So not necessarily the will of the people, just the will of the people that voted. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cindy says Republicans know they will lose unless they stop people like women and minorities from voting. Voter suppression is essential for policies that harm 85% of Americans. Thank you for the $10 donation. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. There's a part of me, and obviously, you know, with the State of the Union happening, and it was just lie after lie after lie. It was just such BS. My husband like tried to turn it on, and I said no. No. I mean, I could watch it. I could read. Honestly, I was like, I'll just read, you know, the clips. I did not want to listen to the BS because it was just BS. It was such bullshit. I didn't need to sit there and watch it. Not to mention, it was so long. I had better things to do with my time.
It was the longest speech in history. Exactly. I had to watch it because I felt like I had to because of, you know, talking politics every day and doing the show right after and the show the next day. But I will say that my husband made me close the office door because he did not want to hear that man's voice in this house. Exactly.
And the thing is, there were so many lies. Now, it's one thing if you're gonna and I know I will admit this. Is he the first president during the State of the Union to exaggerate, to spin things that make whatever policy he's doing sound better? You know what I mean? Like, of course not. You know what I mean? But the blatant lies, like about gas prices, blatantly untrue, right? I think I read one thing where he was talking about like it's under $2 a gallon or $1.99. Like, I think they said there's 4 stations in the entire country where at one point it might have been. That's a lie, right? Yeah. The record inflation, lie. Grocery prices, lies. It's like all of these things you can point to and prove were lies. And yet he says it and you're just supposed to swallow it. And I'm done doing that. And so you don't need to take any more of my time when I just know you're full of crap.
And you're saying the same things that you've said 50 million times over and over and over and over.
Exactly.
I love this comment by Agolf, who writes, I would like Congress to amend the Constitution and force the president to give the State of the Union under oath. It's a report on the state of the Republic, not a campaign speech that we already heard for years. Yeah. Imagine if they couldn't lie, if they really were giving testimony. Imagine.
Oh, geez. I mean, imagine if politicians couldn't lie, right? Imagine if, especially the president of the United States. Imagine if you just couldn't lie. But again, that would require us to define what a lie is. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? You know, I could... It's like with Bill Clinton not inhaling, you know, or what is sex? You know what I mean? Like, geez, Louise, it's just so difficult.
Oh, man.
Make the truth great again. Exactly, Agolf. It's so sad, but Donald Trump has ruined what we see the presidency as. He is not an example. We do not hold, at least right now, that office in esteem. He is tainted it. He's tarnished it. It means nothing. The reputation of the White House is laughable. It is as laughable as Kash Patel being with the U.S. men's hockey team, chugging beer. You know what I mean? Like, it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment.
I don't know if you, yes, and just to digress for a moment, did you hear Trump call into the locker room?
Of course
and
I did.
You hear what he said? I have to invite.
And everyone's like, it's a joke. It's a joke. Like, no. And now I will say this.
Funny. Did you think that was funny? Way to denigrate their win.
Well, this is the thing. Women's hockey has won the gold numerous times. The first time they played, right? Numerous times. And I understand that the U.S. men's hockey team, this was their first time since like the 80s or whatever, right? I get it. It was a big deal. But this is the argument that I've gotten into with many people. They're like, it was a joke. This is the question I ask people. What's the joke? Tell me what the joke is. Because I want to understand what was funny. Because a joke is supposed to make people laugh. Is the joke, I don't understand what the joke is. Is the joke that you wouldn't want to invite women, other gold medal American team to the White House? Is the joke that Donald Trump is such a sexist? that he would have to invite women. I mean, where is the joke? Is the joke in the room with us? Because I don't understand the joke, and no one can explain the joke. So it's not a joke. He's just a sexist asshole, and those men were too weak to not say anything. Now, I will say this though. I'm going to let the U.S. men's hockey team a little bit off the hook. I think it's unfair to take men who are celebrating and make them in that moment control their emotions so much. Okay. I think the president should take complete responsibility for that comment. Okay. Now we can, whatever, the guy's holding the phone and blah, blah, fine. But I do think that the president should be the one that is vilified for that comment. Do I wish that the men's hockey team in unison should have just praised the women's hockey team like some of the men said, 2 for 2 and just praise them? Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's play this speech because she did excellent.
This is Hillary Knight from the U.S. women's hockey team responding to the so-called joke.
No, I just thought the joke was distasteful and unfortunate. And I think, just the way women are represented, it's a great teaching point to really shine light on how women should be championed for their amazing feats. And now I have to sort of sit, and anybody has to sit in front of you and explain someone else's behavior. It's not my responsibility. But what is shifting the focus and shifting the narrative of this amazing accomplishment that we all did together. And granted, the men's and the women's team did it together, and that is super special. It's never been done in our program's history. It's something we're extremely proud about. But these women are amazing.
Exactly. He should have been a good president. Should have been like, I'm going to bring you and the women. The American hockey kicked ass. I cannot wait to bring both of these American teams to the White House. Why did he have to separate the women? That is what he should have done. And anybody, especially in my comments, saying it was a joke doesn't get that he's a sexist asshole. Like there wasn't a need for a joke. There was no need for a separation. All that was needed was praise for our American athletes. That was it. But he had to do it because he's sexist. That's it.
Gonna have to bring the women too. There's no
gonna have to bring
it.
them. Whatever. So again, I don't want to take, like she said, attention away from the hard work of the women and the men. You know what I mean? Like they did, and it sucks that the men had no control over it. I don't think they had control over Kash Patel going into their locker room. I don't think they had control over the fact that the phone was put in their hand and the president of the United States was on the other end of it. You know what I mean? Like they're not in control of those things. But at the same time, you wish the knee-jerk reaction wouldn't have been the laugh. You know, it would have been like, no, the women are awesome, but we live in a world in which sometimes people just laugh because they're uncomfortable or laugh because maybe they agree. Who knows? But the joke lies with him, the president, and that's where the blame should be. So
the women have turned down the invitation to come to the White House.
They have scheduling issues. Of course they do.
I'm kind of at my wit's end with a bunch of stuff lately. Like my tolerance level is just extra low. So I would have probably said no in a much more, not just no, but like double no with a
like
flip
hell no.
Yeah, exactly. With dueling middle fingers. But after they said no, Flavor Flav invited them to Las Vegas. They would show the women's U.S. women's hockey team a really good time. And from what I understand, they have accepted the offer of Flavor Flav for a Vegas trip.
And I think they also had dinner with Stanley Tucci. I think they also had dinner with Stanley Tucci or like a nice Italian meal or something. And the boys got cold McDonald's at the White House. What is it with McDonald's? Like, and it's cold. You know it's cold. If I get my kids McDonald's tonight and I go to the drive-thru and I bring it straight home, it's probably cold within 5 minutes. Do you know how long it takes for McDonald's to go all the way through the White House security to that table where the hockey guys are? That's a crap meal that they just got. I'm sorry. I don't know why he keeps doing that. It's so stupid. It is so dumb, but whatever. And yeah, I hear Nancy makes a good point. hold on, where is it? She was saying that there, the men's hockey team is like supporting, Donald Trump. And should they have gone? Do you think they should have accepted? It's a weird question.
On one hand, it's your only time, probably for many of those people, that you ever get to go to the White House, and that in and of itself, regardless of who's president, is a special moment. But on the other hand,
I don't know though. Yeah, it's his White House though. You know what I mean?
There's 0% chance that if I was in that position, that I would go to this particular White House.
No.
You have, okay, so you have the American athletes representing all that's supposed to be good in America, right? Freedom and maybe this is putting too much on athletes, but what does America stand for? We walk in, we're representing freedom. We've got a constitution that, that ensures us certain rights. We're different. We're supposed to be different and special, and the torch of good.
Yeah.
Maybe what a naive Nancy I am, right? But what do we have now? We have killing American citizens in the streets, rounding people up, throwing them in these warehouse detention centers where measles is rampant and disease is rampant. We have the threat of taking over the elections. We have all kinds of constitutional rights being trampled.
And protecting pedophiles left and right who have abused children.
That's just the cherry on that shit sundae.
Exactly.
So, am I going to that White House?
Exactly.
Am I using my platform as an athlete, as someone who could stand up and say, there is 0% chance I'm going to say, going to that White House is like saying I condone or support anything and everything that madman is doing. And I condone none of it. You have an opportunity to say no, but they didn't. They went and they did it. So while I understand it's still a moment for them and the White House, regardless of who's president, I couldn't do it either. I say they had an opportunity to amplify a really important message, and they didn't take it.
4 U.S. men's hockey players did not go. 3 of them were from Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So yes. I think obviously some of them did take a stand and were like, yeah, I can't go. So that says something. And maybe it's time for athletes and other celebrities, I'm going to put it in quotes, to stop being put on put the spotlight on them and have to make a choice like this. Like, can I stop having to have my sport or whatever I do be politicized and just say, you know what, I don't want to go at all at the beginning. Like, if I win, I'm not going, maybe preemptively say that I'm not going to go either way. I'm just, where I live. you can come see me if you want to. I have no idea. Oh, it's 5. Perfect. It was 5. Mm-hmm. It was 4. It's 5. Great. See, they had some backbone.
Yep. They sure did. But then you had the ones that showed up at the State of the Union and accepted medals from this man and cheered like it was somehow whoop-de-whoopty.
Some of them probably voted for Trump, dude. Come on. This is America we're talking about. And again, this is America. There are people that voted that way. Okay. You have to understand that,
Even if you voted that way, right? Even if you bought into it, if you see what's happening right now, aren't you smartening up a little bit? Aren't you like, oops?
You would hope so, but come on now. Come on. There's still people. Come on. Look what's happening. We were literally just talking about people talking about changing our elections, giving Trump control. Obviously, there's way too many people that are allowing him to still do it. Yeah. So no, yes, it's we're not there yet. We're definitely not there. Look, okay, so let's talk about the DOJ covering up. We talked about it briefly, but those 50 plus pages that were taken out, you don't think that that's why, Bondi and all of them have been taking so long to bring out all of these files? They are protecting not only some very high profile people, but now apparently the president himself. Yeah. Now, this is the thing that's going to piss me off, because I know I can already hear people saying it. Oh, but the person that made all of these accusations against President Trump, it's not believable, blah, 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 because we don't believe women. We don't. Apparently, this girl was a young girl, what, 13, something like this, when she made these accusations against the president. Very detailed accusations, multiple times, several interviews. Okay, and all of a sudden, these interviews, these pages are removed. Why? Why were these removed?
It makes me so sad. I mean, are you even surprised? We kind of knew this all along. I'm not surprised, but I'm just so grossed out and sad for this victim, and just the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, because she claims that he hit her.
Exactly.
I just, like, I don't know. Okay, so even if you thought he was a good guy, and then you read that, I mean, how you just say, I'm just not going to believe a 13-year-old girl. I'm just not going to believe a woman.
And it happened so long ago. But that's what it is. And this is the other thing. And I know I say this every week when we talk about it. And then I see more and more headlines come out. This person's leaving their position, and this person's leaving their position.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is this. This person believes guilty enough that they're going to leave their high profile position, but it's not a big enough connection for them to face any sort of charges.
That's right.
We're just not going to do anything about it. That's what pisses me off about this whole entire thing. Because you know what's going to happen, Kim? They're just going to leave that position and slide into some other 6 to 7 figure job. That's it. They have another job lined up. You think they give a crap? They're leaving. They're going to leave this high profile job and go to this high profile job. It's just not going to make a headline. They'll wait 6 months. They'll wait a year. They got money. You think they're hard up for money? These are rich people we're talking about here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to leave, my TV gig. I'll get a job over here. Like, no, these people need to face jail time, court time, a jury. Like, what are we talking about here? I don't understand what we're doing.
I noticed that the people arrested in the UK, Prince, formerly Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and Peter Mandelson, were not arrested for charges regarding sex abuse of minors or sex abuse of women or whatever. They were arrested for the possibility of misconduct in regards to information that they shared. In the case of the former prince, it was, the trade secrets of the UK. So misconduct allegations. Does the entire world care so little about women?
Exactly.
Where are those charges?
Exactly.
Where's that? And even if, okay, say in America, we could give a rat's ass about girls and women too. Disappointing, but we've lived it, right? We see it on a daily basis, and this is another egregious example of it. But why haven't we arrested anybody for sharing secrets, for financial crimes? It's all tied together. This is a whole big, deep cesspool of billionaires, financial crimes, banking crimes, sharing
laundering money. It's all there. It's all there.
When are the arrests going to happen? Why is it just people that have resigned in shame? And some of them aren't shameful at all. We've got this guy that's the Casey Wasserman or whatever his name is, who's the chair of the Olympic Committee in Los Angeles. Yeah, who's like, I'm not going to resign.
No, because he knows he's not going to face any. The consequences aren't there. This is Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massey, and he's talking about the Epstein files, and he's dropping the names. Here he is.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Congress created the Department of Justice. Congress funds the Department of Justice, and Congress is responsible for the oversight of the Department of Justice. When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files, over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things, so much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide, but I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who has since been stripped of his royalty, his royal titles due to his affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, who previously served as UK's ambassador to the United States, resigned in disgrace from United Kingdom's House of Lords and the Labour Party, and he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Torbjorn Jagland, has been charged. But we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? We see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. It's fine to be proud of this country, but we should be proud of this country because we have a system of justice that works. And yet we do not. Who are the men that should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redactions to see that this man needs to be investigated. Jess Staley, accused of terrible things. It's right there in the files. Why is he not being investigated? And Leslie Wexner. Why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator in their own documents in a child sex trafficking case, and then tell him, according to him, that they had no questions for him? Why is that? Well, the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ and the FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they made those decisions, whether to prosecute or not prosecute. Yet they have not delivered those memos. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails from 2008 to explain why Jeffrey Epstein was given such a light sentence in what would have been an open and shut case of child sex trafficking, which allowed him to go back and recommit these terrible crimes, create hundreds of more victims, and ensnare so many other people in his conspiracy. Where are those documents that describe those decisions? We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work, and that's what they need to do now.
It's not going to happen, though. Sorry, Massey. It's not going to happen because Pam Bondi is going to protect Donald Trump. And obviously, the latest news, of course, is that they want to do an investigation of Bondi. They're accusing her of Democrats are accusing her of perjury because, obviously saying that Donald Trump knew nothing, no accusations against Donald Trump, which now we know is false. But that's why she was talking about the Dow and all kinds of crap. Like, she's the worst. But everybody in that cabinet, from Kash Patel on down, like, they're not doing their jobs. And I think it's because they know that the president is involved, obviously. So we failed.
Ask yourself if they really want the information. Do they really want the information? Because if they did, then maybe Hillary Clinton isn't the person to depose. Maybe the questions should have been asked toward Lex Wexner,
exactly,
or whatever his name is, and the real bad guys and the boogeymen of the night.
This statement was hilarious.
Good evening. Well, I have just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew, and what I knew is what I said in my statement this morning. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking. We had a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we had agreed upon rules based on the fact it was going to be a closed hearing at their demand, and one of the members violated that rule.
A quick pause on that. Did you hear what happened?
Yeah, freaking Boebert's like leaked a picture to what, some sort of
Right-wing podcaster
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Stupid.
It's supposed to be, I mean, it's the Republicans who wanted a closed door hearing, and Boebert broke the rules. She wasn't even supposed to be there.
Like, Boebert is so weird. When I saw her name, I'm like, oh my God, is she still there? Like, what does she do?
Apparently breaks the rules.
Was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements. So we had to cease the hearing for a period of time until we could get assurances that no rules would be broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet, that was serving as the basis of a member's questions to me. So I can only say that the best exchange that I had came at the very end, when, contrary to every other deposition they have taken, no Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. And
That's
in
crazy.
fact, the Republican members didn't even show up for the deposition of Les Wexner. And when I said that, I had to point out that the only questions that any Republican member asked of any of the people they deposed was of former Attorney General Bill Barr, when Chairman Comer asked him about the allegations, in his view, about Russia's involvement in my election in 2016. So at the very end of this hearing, after I made that point, I want to commend Chairman Comer for raising a series of significant questions that I responded to about the nature of the investigation and the areas that I thought should be explored. So I appreciated that. I want to see the truth come out. So that was a reassuring way to end a very long, repetitive deposition.
Anyway, she goes on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a waste of time. I think the biggest point to make there is, if they really wanted the answers and everything to be made public, they would have made the hearing public. The Republicans know that it's just smoke and mirrors with the Clintons. Well, specifically Hillary Clinton. We know Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein had a relationship. And so if you want to throw Bill Clinton in prison, I don't give two shits. If he did something terrible to children, he should be thrown in prison and in hell. But Hillary Clinton, I'll believe that she didn't go to Epstein's Island. I don't think Hillary Clinton did anything to children. Did she know anything about it? You have to prove it first, right? So, and she didn't take the fifth. Exactly. But
she did say that she while she has never met Epstein, she said she had met Ghislaine Maxwell.
Exactly.
She said they were acquaintances. She didn't know her, but she had met her at kind of
Casually
like
at
events
parties,
kind of thing.
probably.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So she did say that, and that's about as much as her involvement is there. But the look on her face is like, really, this is a waste of my time.
Well, and the truth of the matter is the people that you should be interrogating are the people that were at the island. Somebody also, I read another interesting fact, and it's about lawsuits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, discovery and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not a lawyer, so I wouldn't know like kind of the process of all of this, especially because he's president of the United States. But just because we know that he likes to sue people, it's amazing that people that have come out publicly and said that Donald Trump did something to them, that Donald Trump hasn't sued them, right, from connected to Epstein's Island. And they're saying that he doesn't do that because then it would lead to discovery, that you would have to investigate something like that. So he doesn't want to get involved in any sort of that. So they just say there's nothing there.
You think she's tired of being trotted out in front of the press
Yes.
over and over again because her husband is pervy?
Yes.
I mean, we know he's pervy too, right? I mean, I don't know what kind of crimes he's committed. I'm not saying that
Hillary Clinton has put up with so much BS because Bill Clinton is a pervert. Absolutely. But she knew what she signed up for
Yeah,
a hell of a long time ago, all the way back in Arkansas. So you know what I mean? Like, give me a break.
And if he did something, bring charges. But it's all a distraction from Trump, because there's only one person that is sitting in the Oval Office right now that's making decisions on behalf of all of us, and that's Trump. So, I mean, shuffle the Clintons to the side, back to history where they belong. And if there's something that happened, then bring charges. Otherwise, let's focus on the guy in the Oval Office, because he's the one that's making decisions on behalf of all of us right now, who's representing America. So let's hold him accountable. Bring it.
Exactly. I mean, because there's consequences for him being in office. Okay, so obviously we're going to continue to focus on Epstein. But there's other things that have happened. Why are there so many redactions? Now, just to answer this question, they are going to say, because we're protecting the victims, even though a lot of the victims' identities have been released, and they're protecting the people's names. That came out, obviously. But that's why they're like, oh, we're taking our time to protect the victims, but they're not. There's been so many victim identifications that have come out accidentally that it's total BS. It's just, and they're late. They're so past the date in which all of this is supposed to have been released that they've already broken their own rules. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if they were so concerned about protecting children, protecting women, they would want to release this information. There would be arrests. We don't have any, not one. There has not been one in America arrest. What does that tell you? There is a cover-up. Besides, obviously, Maxwell and obviously Epstein passed away, died, whatever. Not one. Does that not tell you something? That there's not been one out of all of this treasure trove of information, not one arrest? Massey was right. Not one arrest. There's a cover up here.
John Cottingham wants us to address this whataboutism. He says, riddle me this. Biden and Harris had control of the DOJ and the Epstein files for 4 years and charged Trump with what? Fine.
No,
I'm gonna scoop up a giant bowl of you're right. And now I'm going to give you a spoon that says who gives a rat's ass.
Well, no, but there's a reason why. But there's a reason why they didn't.
Okay, go ahead.
But Donald Trump also did in 2016.
Yeah.
And Bill Barr, they blocked it. So it was already under investigation. And so they followed the rules in which you do not disclose information that is already under investigation. It wasn't theirs to release.
I think
if that makes sense.
I think they could have done more.
They could have done it, but they don't typically done it.
Yeah. But I will say this, even discussing it is like a look back in history that doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I think, who cares, John Cottingham? Why don't we just focus on the now? Why
Right.
don't we do
And
that?
I get what you're saying. Like, does it matter
No.
to you if it was Biden or Trump where we are right now? And I hear what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
this could have happened during Biden. True. The whole Epstein suicide. We were talking about all of this for years. It's not as if our attention hasn't been focused on this for a very long time. All I'm saying is Donald Trump is a lot more connected to Jeffrey Epstein than Joe Biden.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So I don't understand why under a Donald Trump presidency, we are not concerned that there hasn't been any arrests.
Yep.
And why Donald Trump still gets to stay in the White House when we were so quick to want Bill Clinton out of the White House for a BJ. Like,
Right.
It blows my mind, pun intended. Whatever. Okay, let me play another thing that, just in the long grand scheme of, consequences of having Donald Trump in the White House. Did you see this video from whistleblower Ryan Schwenk? This was another testimony. What committee was this? He was before Congress, but I forget what committee. He's a former ICE agent or instructor that was talking about the training that was going on. This is insane. Did you see this video that he was giving, this testimony that he was giving? Just to remind you of the situation that we're still in, because even though they've pulled back, Tom Homan's pulling back all these ICE officers, just to give you an idea of this is the America that we're living in right now. Here he is. This is the whistleblower, Ryan Schenck, talking about Donald Trump's ICE and their illegal actions.
I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when I joined ICE on August 1st, 2021, as an assistant chief counsel. I followed that oath for 4.5 years, working side by side with ICE officers. And I followed it when I resigned on February 13th, 2026, a little over a week ago, so that I could speak to you today. For the last 5 months, I watched ICE dismantle the training program, cutting 240 hours of vital classes from a 584-hour program. Classes that teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrests, proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. ICE is teaching cadets to violate the Constitution. And they were attempting to cloak it in secrecy by demanding that I lie about it.
So this guy has come forward to talk about it. Now, obviously, like he mentioned, he had been there for several years. And he was saying that they included a July 2025 syllabus. CBS News obtained internal documents that were part of disclosure, and it included this syllabus for the ICE officer training program and an updated one for this month. Within a 7-month span, training dropped from, like he said, 72 to 42 days, with a lot of the training dropped. And apparently, it also included a document that only specific ICE agents were handed. And within that document, basically what it was excuses to convince ICE officers that what they were doing was okay, even though legally it wasn't. But they would only hand it out in certain situations. Absolutely ridiculous. This is why we're in the situation that we're in, right? This is why we're seeing what's happening on the streets. And there's no oversight. There's no oversight of this.
They weren't just untrained or they weren't just undertrained. They were mistrained.
Exactly.
They were told wrong.
And they expect about 4,000 new recruits will graduate from the program by the end of September. They will be hiring, the administration has said it will be hiring 10,000 new officers through funding from the big, beautiful bill. Yeah, because they're all of that money that they've taken from healthcare and everything else, this is where it's going. All of your tax dollars, all of your tariff money, that's not, tariff money. That's where it's going. It's to fund this BS. It's crazy. And it's not changing. Tom Homan can do whatever he wants. He could change the optics now that, they're pulling back from Minnesota, but it's still freaking happening. They're just going to make it not look so dramatic. I would imagine. So that's what we're dealing with while we're probably going to be distracted by the upcoming election.
Yeah.
You got to stay on your toes about all this.
And here are all these people on the streets of America, untrained or mistrained, to abuse American citizens and immigrants.
Yep.
And that's really scary. It's really scary to me. And how much is it going to cost past status post-Trump to take every single officer and go back and retrain them? And is it going to be too late? Because, people settle into habits and the way they do their job, right? Is it going to be too late to show them that the Constitution matters, that you can't abuse power?
I wonder what's going to happen to all these ICE officers. We can't keep all of them. So for instance, once Donald Trump's not president, we're not going to keep the number of ICE officers at this insane level. I'm assuming we're just going to doge them, right?
I don't know.
What are we going to do with all these people? We can't continue to keep ICE numbers at this insane level. What are we going to do? It's insane. Exactly, with military weapons and such under training. I know that's the wrong word, but lack of training.
Yeah.
It is, and it's not. Did you hear the training that they removed? Right, use of force. Our Constitution, why do you think those are the lessons they removed? Because they didn't want you to think about those things. They wanted you to violate those things because that's the only way you would do the job that they want you to do. That's insane. This administration is so the opposite of what it means to be America, an American.
Yep.
And yet people talk about this administration that support it as if it is America. And it boggles my mind. And so much of me, Kim, can't wait for the midterms because, and maybe I'm just, and I don't want to be disappointed again because I've been burned so many times, but I feel so much that people are fed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This isn't who we are. This isn't who we are. I keep looking around. I'm you have to see that this isn't who we are. By now, at some point, you have to look around and say, this is not how we do things.
The level of hate is what boggles my mind. It's not hard to get a copy of the Constitution. It's everywhere. It's even online. We should all know our rights.
It's even online.
It's even online. You can find the United States Constitution everywhere. This happens to be my personal copy. So how much, knowing that we know our rights and that they're easy for us to find and that they're very important and that they're what makes America America, how much do we as a country hate people of color or people that are here in an undocumented way or people that are different from us collectively? How much hate is there that we would throw our Constitution in the shitter and allow this guy to do this? How much hate is there? That's what boggles my mind is, what are we willing to tolerate just because we want to see brown people arrested? Really? What do you hold dear? What do you hold sacred? When are you going to stand up and stop this baloney?
I think it's still the uneducated. I really do. I really feel it's, and I don't even mean the uneducated. I mean the homogenous. Does that make sense? The homogenous communities, the I don't know what I don't know communities. I only know people that live like me communities.
Yep.
And I don't just mean white, although that's largely what it is. But I will also mean socioeconomic, right? I only am surrounded by people that live like me, whether it's farm country or fill in the blank type of living. If it's all you know and everyone thinks like you do and you don't see anything wrong with it, but you go online or you turn on the television and it looks strange to you and you don't see the problem of what Donald Trump is saying because that sounds fine to you, that's what we have to get through. Does that make sense? People talk crap about California and coastal cities because we're weird and, you know, those damn libs. And the reason why is because it is odd. It is odd for them to see these different ways of living all mishmashed together, right? I remember vividly. I have this vivid moment, and it's going to be very weird for you to see this, for me to say this. I'm walking through my elementary school, and I remember having a conversation with a fellow student. I will always remember this. And I remember we were talking about a project we were doing about the United States. And I remember saying, oh, the United States, we are most known for being the melting pot of the world.
Yeah.
And I remember just saying that statement, and it just was true. Like, and it wasn't wrong and it wasn't bad. It was just what we were known for. Like, we're the melting pot. And so we weren't like China. We weren't like, that was the difference. It's like, we weren't just one thing. We were everything. And that was the point of our project. And I remember being proud of that. And at some point, people stopped being proud of that. Some people stopped being proud of that, right? And that's unfortunate. But I also think what happened was globalization impacted small businesses and changed how people saw that. And I just think people need diversity in their community before they will see that what Donald Trump is trying to create is wrong. And that's just it.
I love this from Eileen, who writes, MAGA in its genius has co-opted patriotism.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, so do Republicans.
Lying on everything every day disturbs me now.
Yeah.
I would argue this. The U.S. flag does not belong to MAGA or the Republicans, and I won't stop flying it because I still love my country and I still believe there's a chance that we can resurrect our Constitution and make it the law of the land once again. But what I do agree with Eileen about is that they have been very smart about messaging, right? When we were growing up, we studied the melting pot, as you say.
Yeah.
But when they are putting up the flag, when they are, being patriotic, they're not talking about the melting pot. Their messaging is completely different, and they do it behind the flag. They have changed the message of America, but I don't think they're able to change it for most of us who grew up paying attention to what America really means. Yeah. And so that's why I have hope that there's still people that know the poem that is, on a plaque on the Statue of Liberty, that there's still people that appreciate what this country stands for and that is in their heart, that there's been enough. I don't know, there's in political science, and they teach you that one of the most powerful things to get to create nationalism is to start in schools. It's why we have to repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. It's why we have to learn all these pro-America, America. Well, the beautiful part of that, and that's why they're doing it in schools now. They want the 10 Commandments in the classrooms, and they want this and that, right? They want to change it up. The beautiful part is that most of us grew up with, you could say it was wrong or right, but we grew up with the message that we have, which is pro-Constitution, believe in the tenets of America. And so maybe there's enough of us that, I don't know if you want to use the word indoctrinated into that way of thinking, that when they try to shove this new way of thinking down our throats, we won't tolerate it, and we won't tolerate it being fed to our kids. Does that make sense?
It does, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Because, and the reason, and I'll tell you why, is because I've been disappointed
Yeah.
by the parents that raised us, unfortunately. Some of them, not all of them. Because I think the messaging, I think it's complicated, Kim. We're a very large, and again, diverse country. And so we'll see. I choose to have hope, and my hope always lies with the fact, and I say this so many times, that everyone always thinks that their generation is going to hell in a handbasket. And at some point we always kind of pull it out. Right. So, and we will. It might get darker. It might not. I hope that this year is the year, it's the year of the horse, of big changes. And I'm hoping they're positive. I hope they're big, positive changes. I'm staying focused on that. And I do. I think people are fed up. I think people want change. I think people want to go back to feeling like they're going to have some sort of control. And we have to stay the course. We really, really, really do. I believe the pandemic exacerbated separation, suspicion, and hate. I absolutely agree with you. I think Donald Trump, and we've talked about this, came at a perfect time to capitalize on that crap. You know what I mean? But he was also, kind of a symptom of what was already there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just vote, people, please. And double check your registration. I'm going to say that every freaking time, because people in other states are realizing that they're not registered. Make sure you're registered. I don't even care if you voted in the last election, just fine. I double checked my registration just the other day, just to make sure I am registered to vote. Good people unite together before the next election and fight this evil. Exactly. Okay, can I bring up something that's local but also interesting? And I have a interesting question. Okay, so there's some, and it has to do with voting. There is a ballot proposal in California, and we're going to be asked this in November. It's whether homeowners age 60 and older should be exempt from paying property taxes on their primary residences. Okay. So it's just been cleared by the Secretary of State's office. So it's going to be on the ballot. Now, the goal is to help seniors stay in their homes. But obviously, if they stop paying property taxes, there's going to be a big hit to the budget, right? Because obviously property taxes pay for public schools and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Now, if approved, the measure would eliminate property taxes for eligible seniors who have lived in their home. Okay, so these are the rules. Pay attention. Who have lived in their home for at least 5 years or have lived in California for at least a decade. Okay. County official. Okay, go ahead.
What do they consider seniors? Is it age 60 and up
60
or 70?
and older. 60.
Okay, 60. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right.
Now, county officials and fiscal analysts say the proposals would generate about the property taxes generate about $100 billion a year statewide. Okay, so that's what it would do, and it would reduce local revenues by $12 billion to $20 billion per year, with losses increasing over time. Now, the person behind it says there could be short-term revenue loss, but local governments would adjust by belt tightening, and the savings would be returned because the seniors would not be spending the money on the property taxes. They would be obviously putting that money back into local community. Oh, okay, so let me know first off in the comments what you think. Here is my big question though, okay? One, what do you think of it? But two, is 60 too young? Because that's my concern. So this is my concern. 60 seems way too young to me. You're not even retired yet. I don't consider, and I guess technically maybe, I don't even know what's considered. you're not in retirement age yet. You're still working technically. You're not even eligible to retire yet. So I don't think you should be eligible for this perk since you're technically still working. So I don't know if I feel like 60 is too young, so you should still be paying your property taxes. And who in the house is eligible for it? So this is the other question I have, and I didn't really read the ballot measure. So if my husband, like my parents, they're 10 years apart, which 60-year-old? They're both on the house. Is it my dad who turned 60, or is it my mom who turned 60? Like, do they both have to turn 60?
Or maybe if any of the homeowners qualify for that age thing. Here's what Ren says. I hate this proposition. No.
Okay.
Basing tax exemption on age is ridiculous. Many seniors are the most well-off financially. Then their neighbors' property taxes stay local, she writes.
Okay.
There's some yeses. Sausalito Vicky says yes. And Kim says yes. Agent Kitty Feets wants the higher corporate and billionaire taxes to cover the cost and the difference.
But then there's this idea of like, I mean,
take up 80% of my disability. The thinking on this is that property taxes are so expensive in California that it's causing older folks to not be able to live here anymore and to lose their homes.
And I mean, at some point, I mean, do you want an 80-year-old still paying property taxes? And if you've lived in your home since, like, let's just say 1975, at some point, it's like, son of a bitch, can I stop paying property taxes on a house already? Like,
there's a law in California that, and my apologies because it doesn't cover me, but I know this. Okay, here's what I know. I know that my mom has lived in her house since 1977. It's right next door. And I know that because of when she bought her house, her property taxes are extraordinarily low.
Yeah,
she pays like $400 a year for property taxes. Yeah. I pay thousands and thousands and thousands, and I have a very similar house right next door.
Yeah, it's Prop 13.
There are many old people who are already helped by laws in place that keep their property taxes low. In addition, here's what I know. They have to cut $6 million from Petaluma City Schools budget this next year. And it's hardly the only school district in trouble.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got roads to fix. Ever heard of the Petaluma pothole? We've got firefighters to fund and police officers to fund. You know, every time you turn around, they're trying to add another tax to your property taxes, another, you know, whatever it is, school funding measure or whatever it is. If we do this and we allow people age 60 and over to just not pay property taxes, our schools are going to suffer.
Right.
Our roads are going to suffer. Our infrastructure will suffer. Our police and fire will suffer. I don't think that's really feasible. I think, you know, it's a really nice idea to try to help people that are older stay in their homes. But if there needs to be a program for people to get help that can't afford their property taxes and can prove that they need a little assist, great. Already, if you're of a certain age, you can opt out of the part of your taxes that pay for schools. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So there are certain things that can be done, but a blanket across the board, 60 and over, no property taxes, I got a thumbs down on it. No.
Ren says everyone should contribute to their communities. Renters of all ages pay the property taxes of the landlords. Just no. Also, this is the other thing. It would also, and again, and I'm speaking as someone who I know my parents want to die in their house. Okay. But it would also prevent people from downsizing. So if I was a 60-year-old, why would I sell my home to downsize if I don't have to pay property taxes anymore? Right. Like, I'd stay in my house. I would stay in this large single family home that maybe just me and my husband need, that I could probably downsize to something smaller. But the other thing is, then I would have to leave my community most likely in the Bay Area. That's the thing, though. The Bay Area is such a weird place to talk about, because you can't downsize in the Bay Area. There is no downsizing. You stay in your house because if you want to downsize, it costs just as much. There's nowhere to go. It's so expensive no matter what you buy. But in a normal area, let's just say, but we're talking about California here, so I guess, you know, you would have a single family home and then you downsize to maybe from a 5-bedroom to, let's say, a 2-bedroom, right? And so the older people would downsize to the 2-bedroom and then they'd sell their bigger home to a family that would need all of those bedrooms, and that would stop it. But if you got rid of the property taxes that these 75-year-old couple can't afford anymore, they wouldn't fall into homelessness, let's say, that we're also paying for, right? Fewer, because they do say a large portion of our homeless population is senior citizens because they can't afford their homes anymore. They can't afford rent. They can't afford all these things. So we're paying it that way as well. So I don't know if it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I just don't know how we absorb that when we're already seeing schools cut. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. And you might say, well, listen, I don't have kids anymore or ever, right? And so
Right.
why should I be paying? Because it's like a village. We all pay for it together. We
It's an
all pay for the
expensive ass
schools and the
village,
roads. And
though.
it's an expensive ass village, but we've chosen it, right? If we wanted a cheap ass village, we'd be living in Idaho and, you know, under red laws, but we're not. So we pay out the ass to live here. You're muted.
I was just wondering how you guys felt about it. I don't, because obviously it's going to be on the ballot. I don't know. I feel for the older people. The only reason I think I'm going to vote no on it is I do think that the age is way too young. 60? 60? No. I mean, I'm going to be 60 in 12 years. Like, you can hear it
60 doesn't seem like senior citizens anymore, does it?
I'm like 60. No, I'm gonna be 60. Like that doesn't seem that far away anymore. I can't believe I'm gonna be 60 in 12 years. I just said that out loud. I was like, shit.
Agolf says base it on age and income. So it's not just age. Because I agree with Ren. You know, there's the people that I know that are older. Most of the people that I know are the people that have the money. They're not the people my age. They're the people that have accumulated wealth or that have inherited things from their parents. And so now these are the folks that, and I know not all older folks are like this. My dad certainly wasn't, you know, I mean, he was making it, but it was close. Right.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that age can't be the only thing. That's going to give a free payday to a lot of people who are loaded. I don't think that's right. You have to consider income.
I think more caveats are needed for property taxes. And I did not know about the opting out thing. That's awesome. There should be more things like that. I think that also creates more bureaucracy though. Right. So
my mom said, hey, did you know I can opt out of paying the school's tax? Cause I don't have any kids in the schools. I said, you better not. She said, well, I'm thinking about it. I said, you're a public school teacher. She said, yeah, but it could save me this much a year. I'm like, you're hardly paying anything.
You're like, hello.
She's not doing it, but still, she's like, I could. She's ribbing me. I could. Like,
oh, Jesus. I mean, it's because on one hand, and also remember this. So if you live in a community in which people move to because of the schools, right? You don't want to ruin your property values by not taking care of those schools. I mean, God forbid. I mean, how many headlines have we been seeing lately of schools closing left and right? Right. So that just brings down your property values. I don't care what you say about charter schools and private schools. You want your public schools to be good. So, Louis says, my 79-year-old neighbor pays 20% of what I pay for in property taxes, and he bought his house for less than what I paid for remodeling my house. But how long has he lived there? Right. I know. That's why you got to move to like butt F nowhere.
Yep. I agree with Sue Ann. Make it needs based. You have to be able to show that you have very low income, that the property tax pushes you over the edge and you're not going to be able to afford to stay in your home. Have a program for people that are truly affected by this. I don't want anyone to lose their home.
Yeah. But what is needs? This is a good point. Sausalito Vicky says sometimes homeowners aren't low income but have enormous mortgages. Like, what if I own a home but I'm not raking in the dough? I'm just barely able to make my mortgage. Like, so
that's
my
me.
house.
I'm house poor.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, so you might be able to make your I pay out the butt to rent this house. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as if I'm rich. I'm just making ends meet. So what does needs mean? That's hard, right? Like, and we're going to realize that when we have to fill out the FAFSA and all that kind of crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about that I make too much money? Tell me I make too much
And
money.
is it worth the chance that, you could affect schools and social services and the police
Yeah.
and fire and all the things that we need and that we rely on? Is that worth it to you? No.
Well, also ask this question: how much money is wasted? That's what the Richie Kumar, who's behind the proposition, is saying. Like, there needs to be belt tightening. There needs to be people being more fiscally responsible with the money that they have. But I would say schools are always getting the short end of the stick, from the state on down. Public schools always get the S. They always do. And so I have talked, and now that I work in the public school system, it's always the teachers and it's always the schools that never get the raises and always get closed. You see, the top people not getting the raises. Of course they get the raises, right? They always do. So no, exactly. Have the Doge savings pay for the schools. Exactly, right? Where's all of our refunds? Where's all of this money that we saved? Why doesn't all pay for it? I don't know. 66, 67, or 60. Yeah, I think 60 is just way too young. Absolutely. 60? No. 60 is like 70 is the new 60. I just feel like no, thank you. Agent Kitty says, I'm fine with pitching in despite not having kids because I don't want to be surrounded by idiots. But sometimes it does feel a little unfair. Come tax season, whatever. Yeah, I know. Tax season's here. I got to get my tax stuff together. Jesus. Apparently, we're all going to be raking in the dough, according to Donald Trump. So everybody should be turning in their tax stuff. As long as you've owned the home, parents bought in the early 70s for $32,000. They didn't buy $1 million home. Jeez, I know. People talk about how cheap they bought their homes. It's crazy. Eileen says this is a very flawed proposition. Most seniors' prop taxes are low. If they've been in their house for a while, the community will suffer with the reduction of funds. I think they should take into consideration, how much they pay for property taxes to begin with, right? Like, if your property taxes and your income, I guess it should be math. Like, how much do you make? Are you living on Social Security only, right? Like, there should be some sort of, but at some point, like, don't you also think you've paid enough for a house? Like, at some point, I think that's also a mentality that a lot of people have. Like, it doesn't matter all the other nonsense. Like, I've bought this house 10 times over. How many times do I have to pay taxes on something? There's that part of, like, the human condition that looks at government and is like, screw you. I've paid enough taxes for decades on this house. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, so I get that mentality.
I get the frustration with having to pay for anything. I get it. But we have this society that functions because we all are part of the village that pays into it. If you don't want to pay taxes and you want to live in like a hermit by yourself, then maybe go find some, cabin far off in the woods where no one knows you exist.
They still make you pay property taxes for the rest of your life.
But if you want to be a part of society where we educate our children, where the firefighters come when there's a problem, where the paramedics come when your heart beats too fast or whatever it is, where, if there's flooding, they come rescue you, where you want to live in a society where the police come when someone's trying to break in, where you aren't bouncing down the road on potholes and wood shards or whatever, then you pay into the pot for your community to fix things and have the nice things. If you don't want to have the nice things, either A, don't buy a house, B, don't live here, and C, if you don't want to be a member of society, check out, my friend. Go to the forest.
Go to the forest, live amongst the trees and the animals.
That's right.
All right. On that note, I'm going to end it with some semi good news. Well, it is good news. I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it with kind of a village type story. Okay. We'll give a thank you to Luis with the $5 donation. Put it on your calendars, folks. You'll get your Doge and tariff rebates the day after never. I'm going to end this with a little heartwarming story of a little monkey that's taken everyone's heart. Punch the Monkey. I'm assuming you've talked about Punch the Monkey on your show many, many times, but Punch the Monkey has actually been welcomed into society. I think today I saw a monkey giving him a hug today, but I wanted to play a little bit of a video. Science Girl did a little montage of a Punch the Monkey. I was not on the whole Punch the Monkey thing for a while until my husband actually turned me on to Punch. But here we go. Here's a little bit of Punch the Monkey to end our show.
I win. There's things I want to say to you, but I'll just
We're going to lose it. So there's little Punch the Monkey with his little stuffed animal. Now, I don't know if you watch The Daily Show. Jon Stewart was like going off on Punch the Monkey and being kind of mean. So here he is, Punch being like not treated nicely by the monkey. Jon Stewart was saying there has to be something wrong with the monkey if all of the rest of the monkeys were treating him badly. But now he's being loved. See, now he's getting some love. So I guess he's being welcomed into it. So Punch the Monkey, everybody, he's starting to be welcomed into society. So we don't need to worry about Punch the Monkey that much.
He was abandoned by his mother.
His mom, I know. And that's what Jon Stewart was saying. He's like, we don't know more than the tribe. That's what he was saying. He's like, are we monkey experts? There's something wrong with that monkey. I don't think so. He's a cutie pie. I'm sorry.
Cutie pie. Do you know that stuffed animal that he was leaning on?
Yeah, you could buy it.
Is an IKEA item for $20 and it's sold out. And now
God.
The people that bought it are selling them on eBay for $100.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was listening to a morning radio show, and they were talking about like, have you ever had like a stuffed animal type thing that you cut? Because it's really cute that he has his own little monkey. Yeah, exactly. $100. Can you believe it? I cannot believe it. It's a cute little monkey. I'm glad that he's being welcomed in. But I know some people wanted to rescue him. I know nature is brutal. Nature is so brutal, but Punch the Monkey, everybody was crying over that cute little monkey. But I think there was something wrong with that monkey. All right, you guys. Let's give some thank yous. Cindy, thank you so much for the $10 donation.
Thank you.
Also, Louise came in with a $5 donation. We appreciate you guys so much. And Louise came in with another $5 donation as well. Thank you guys for being here. We can't do this show without you. We love being here every Thursday. And so if you want to support the show, the super chats are always up, even if we are on recorded, even if we're not live. And our Patreon and our PayPal is always up. All of the ways to support the show, as always, are in the show notes. So thank you. We'll be back here next week, Thursday at 5 o'clock Pacific, or anytime you want to on YouTube. So take care of each other. We love you. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.